This is Startup Biz Coach Radio, formerly known as Mornings with Terry, and we're empowering entrepreneurs right from the start. Find us at thestartupbizcoach.com every morning at 10 a.m. Eastern with your host, Terry Clay. Are you ready to get this business started?
Hey, this is Terry Clay, and I am back with another episode of the Startup Biz Coach Radio.
Hey, this is Terry Clay, and I am back with another episode of the Startup Biz Coach Radio. Yeah. So we are back on the call yet another day, and we are here at the Startup Biz Coach Radio. We are empowering entrepreneurs right from the very start. And as we do every single day, we do this call every day, Monday through Friday, live from the blog, the website, thestartupbizcoach.com. And on Monday through Thursdays, we interview successful guests, and we have nothing has changed. We have another successful guest on the call, another successful entrepreneur. And so as we do on the Startup Biz Coach Radio, we allow our guests to introduce themselves. So please tell us who you are and what you do.
Yay. Well, I'm super excited to be here with you today, Terry. And I am Stephanie Dunnigan. I am called the Client Magnet Specialist. What I do is I help entrepreneurs who desire a freedom-based lifestyle, meaning location independent, to create the juice, the goods, the marketing strategies necessary to attract clients to their business so that they can live that freedom-based lifestyle.
Wow. And what exactly is a freedom-based lifestyle?
Well, that's funny because the truth is it means something different to everyone. For me, the best way to sum up freedom is the life that you truly desire. The truth is most people are living the life that someone else told them they needed to live, someone else told them they had to live, or what media or society as a whole told them the box that they were supposed to fit in. So freedom is whatever you decide freedom can be, even if freedom means, you know what, I want to sleep in to noon every day and not have any client scheduled to the afternoon. That's freedom. For me, it's the freedom to be able to travel the world luxuriously, because I'm not about backpacking, to be able to travel the world and go to amazing destinations and do things on my time frame. So I guess to sum it up, freedom is time freedom, lifestyle freedom, and just the ability to live life the way you desire.
So we talked about your life, your desire for freedom. Tell them where you are calling in from, and then where you've been, all the locations, so many, where you've been traveling up until this point and where you're about to go.
Well, right now I am currently in Malta, and whenever I tell people that, I have a really good friend of mine, and she's like, girl, you know I don't know what Malta is. So Malta is actually the country of Malta, and it's about 50 miles off the coast of Sicily in Italy, and it's about 50 to 70 miles from Greece. And I just landed here a few days ago from Bali. I've been in Asia for 3 months. Before then, I was in Sicily. I started out in Sicily, then Pisa and Florence and Amsterdam. Oh, forgot London and Singapore, and then to Bali, and then here. And when I leave here, I'm headed to tour through Greece and then back to Italy.
Awesome.
So a lot of places.
Yes, and so to you, I think I would believe that there were some that would like to have freedom. You are still virtually still living your life, still having your business, still running your business, and able to live in all these various places. Is that correct?
Yes, and let me add, I'm a single mother of an 8-year-old, so I'm also homeschooling.
Oh, wow. Now, that seems like your son, it's a son, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Your son is able to really see the places that in the history lessons he's able to be there, and I actually like that concept, because I believe that there's a lot of people that, like you were saying before, that are thinking that, well, I just have my son, a daughter has to go to a school building, or even if they're homeschooling, we have to be in our home in America and just sitting, waking up every morning in our home. But you're saying the freedom lifestyle could be going to all these various countries and still the child still have an education and still have a good education.
Yes, definitely. So when I became a single parent, one thing that I was very hell-bent on, hope it's okay for me to say hell, but I was hell-bent on that life would not stop because I became a single parent. And everyone was saying, when kids go to school, things change. You can't travel. You can't do this. And for his kindergarten year, he did go to a traditional school. And I don't know what I was thinking about, but I scheduled a trip to Italy his kindergarten year. And when I went to take him to Italy, finds out the traditional school system doesn't really play you leaving for 2 weeks to go to Italy. And I really, as silly as it sounds, I didn't understand. You can't give them homework. I can give me the assignments. I work with them. They were just not really flowing into that. And I sat there and I thought, it's absolutely no way I'm going to do this until the 12th grade, that our life is going to have to stop, that the only vacations we can take, the only time he can see the world and soak up new cultures is Christmas holiday, spring break, and during the summer, which is getting shorter and shorter. Just something didn't feel right to me. And I know a huge excuse, and I call it an excuse, and it's probably going to piss some people off, that parents like to make. We like to use children as an excuse for not pushing through our fears. It's a convenient excuse to say, oh, we have children. But the fact is, the children are the reason it should push you towards doing the things you desire. So I had to sit down and figure out, okay, Stephanie, what are you going to do? You know that your desire is for not only you to be able to see the world, but for your kids to be able to experience it. So how can you make this happen? And so I decided, instead of thinking of gazillion ways or reasons why we couldn't travel the world, which at the time, when he was in kindergarten just 3 years ago, I didn't have enough money, even not the way I'm traveling now. I would never have thought I would have been in the position I am now. But my thought process was, what can you do to make this happen, instead of thinking of all the excuses as to why it couldn't happen?
Wow. Yeah, I've read a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And one of the things that he said is, instead of thinking of all the reasons why you can't do it, think of all the ways that you can make it happen. So I love that you said that. And what I really liked what you said was that you didn't allow, because a lot of people would say, well, I got children, so I'll have to wait until my kids get grown or my kids get a certain age. And you didn't say that. You said, no, we're going to figure out a way to make it happen. And I actually know another couple, they're called the Unstoppable Family, and they actually do the same thing. They travel, they have a daughter as well, and they go to all these places.
Yes,
I'm not for sure if their daughter is homeschooled.
Yes,
you say
Rhonda.
what?
I do know Rhonda, yes.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But it's amazing. It's a choice. It's a choice. And I'm going to be honest with you, Terry, and say it's easier to say, you know what, because I have kids, I can't do this. It's easier to use that as an excuse, because really we don't have to be held accountable for the way what we were called to do. So I was not necessarily, this is the way I like to say it. I wasn't called to travel, but I've come to this realization in the last year that I wasn't called to necessarily travel, but what I was called to do was to show people the life that they could live through me, that they can see and see this person who started out with $21 and as of 2014 has built this 7-figure business as a single woman with no excuses and push through the fear. So, travel is not necessarily like it's about travel. It's about showing people what is possible when you break down those excuses, when you throw them away. You understand that, you know what, doing something new is scary as hell, but we're going to do it anyway, because on the other side of that is your glory. On the other side of that is that thing that you've been working towards.
So let me ask you something. How do you get your mindset to the point that when you look at a world and the majority of the world, their kids are in school and their kids are, in this traditional program where they're saying that they can't leave. So how do you break away and say, I am going to do something different? How would you tell someone how to get their mindset to say you don't have to be like everybody else to make it?
Yeah, well, I have to say that it was kind of a process for me. Even before I had my son, it was a huge desire to travel and to live differently and to be an entrepreneur. I didn't know what I would be doing, but it was a huge desire of mine. And for the first couple of years of his life, I don't know if you're familiar with like House Hunters International. I was watching House Hunters International regularly on HGTV, and every time I see someone go off and go to find a house, it just really lit me up. And then I would see someone with children, and I'm like, well, it has to be a way to make this happen. I then I went on YouTube and searched for documentaries and videos about people who were becoming expats and stepping outside of the box and who were doing so with children. Most of the people that I found were doing so with husbands, though. I haven't found many people who are doing it as single parents. But one thing that I've always believed, and I have to say it was just a mindset that was instilled in me, was that I'm no different from anyone else. They're no different from me. So when I saw them doing it, I knew there had to be a way. So that was the beginning. It's just watching other people doing it, studying people who are doing it. I like to always tell people, you may not have this $1 million set of friends right now, but you can start studying these millionaires if that's a desire of yours. And so that was the first part, was for me to really start studying people who had accomplished some of the things that I desired. The next part is probably so cliche, but I promise you it works for me, is I really went to the classics. The Science of Getting Rich is like my number one book as far as changing mindset and thought patterns and really what to put in place in order to change my life and to change my business. The Game in Life and How to Play It. It actually was the first book that I discovered, was The Game of Life and How to Play It, and then The Science of Getting Rich. To this day, I can tell you I've probably read those books at least 200 times. I study those books every day. I spend an hour in the morning, and let me say this. This is what people think is once your mindset changes, you're done. You've got it, right? That is a lie, and I wish people would quit telling it. So I went 28, 29 years with this screwed up mindset, thinking of all the ways that I could, with a lack mentality, talking about I was broke, talking about I couldn't afford. Like, those words never even come out of my mouth now. But I went all those years with that mindset. It's no way it can completely change in 4 or 5 years. And so I began to study diligently. Initially, I would literally spend maybe 3 or 4 hours a day in wealth consciousness reading. Now I only spend about 30 to 45 minutes in the morning and 30 to 45 minutes in the evening. But to this day, I still study wealth consciousness because I went all those years believing something else. And yes, I've changed that belief system and replaced it with something else. But sometimes we get these reminders of something that's happened in our past or of lack, and you never want to go back to that place. So even to this day, that's what I study those books. Huge for me, huge.
I love that. That you are determined even to study 3 and 4 hours, and sometimes to be successful, you have to do what others were not willing to do. And I believe that was that's huge, because I know in a world where the mindset is, you work 40 years and retire, and you got to do it a certain kind of way, and they teach us that. And you have to almost be, to me, determined that you're going to change or you're going to have different. And I believe that with that 3 or 4 hour day study, you did that.
Yes. And, to be honest, before I even started the studying, I didn't even know what to read. And this is, a lot of times people say, but I don't know what to do. Let me tell you, when you are determined that your life is going to change, the universe will put people and things and situations in your path so that you can learn something new. So people came into my life. I'm just on the internet and a book pops up on the screen that's perfect for what I need. These things happen. But what I knew before I left corporate America, I was miserable. And I was thinking, am I really supposed to do this for 40 years? Am I really supposed to come to work every single day? These people are getting on my last nerve. They tell me when to come to work. They tell me when to eat. They tell me when to leave. If my kid is sick, they tell me I can't go pick up my kid, or maybe I can. It sounded like modern day slavery to me, which I know is different from the way people think of it. But to me, when I began to think about what the process of everybody coming into work, it was like slavery. You're telling me prison. You're telling me when to do everything. And I was so miserable, and I kept thinking, this couldn't be life. And if this is life, it's not the life I wanted. So, I really was willing. My mindset told me I was willing to give up everything. And even if I didn't have anything and I was forced to go live at home forever, I just would not be unhappy. I would be a happy broke bum at home with my mother, but I was